Hello and welcome. In the spirit of my brand new book, The Delicate Art of Transformation, I've been on a quest for truth. What does it actually take to create real, lasting transformation? And here you are on the precipice of something big. I don't think that's a coincidence that we should ignore. Welcome, my friend. Welcome to the True Transformation Summit. This is where true growth and transformation happens because sometimes it's about your mindset. You're working on your thoughts and your beliefs. Sometimes it's about connecting deeper with your body. Sometimes it's stepping into success and rewiring yourself for wealth. And sometimes it's a spiritual one. But when the right person says the right thing at the right time and it all clicks, those are the moments that make all the difference. And that is what this summit is here for. You're going to hear from some incredible experts who every single one I personally invited to be here because each of them have made an impact in my life. So listen with an open heart, do what they say, take what resonates, try the practices, get their free gifts, and let this space be the place where you find your next step. My name is Talia Joy. I'm your host. And if you want all the free gifts, the resources, and the only place where you can be entered for prizes, you can join the Insider Circle for free below. All right, without further ado, take a deep breath in. Think about what you are transforming, what you are here for. And let's dive into today's episode. Hello, Elle. Welcome to the True Transformation Summit. I am so excited you're here. How are you today, my friend?
I am good. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. This is such a huge summit covering so many different things, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
Yeah, this is going to be such a good conversation. And I invited you here today because when I think of, everything that we've gone through in this summit, and a lot of us have gone through, we've gone through the mindset stuff. We've gone through dropping it into the body. We've gone through the success piece. And for so many of us, we are hungry for this spirit piece, this channel piece, this soul piece. And, so many of my listeners in this community, everybody's listening, we are intuitive. We have that inner voice, whether we've recognized it's our spirit team or it's just that intuitive piece. And so I'm really excited to dive into this today. And that's what I really wanted to talk to you about because I know your journey has been an evolution in that as well. So just so excited to dive in and I'm so grateful you're here.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
So let's just start with a little bit about yourself. We'll do the foreplay thing. Let everybody know a little bit about you and your business.
Yeah, let's ease into it. I am a soul therapist and a spirit communication mentor. So basically, I grew up with psychic and mediumship abilities that I didn't understand. So I went on this journey over the last, give or take, 20 years, learning how to navigate this skill because this is what it is. It is a skill. It is not a gift. This is not something that people are, blessed with or bestowed upon type of situation. This is something that everyone is able to do. Everyone is able to communicate with spirit and connect with their spirit team and utilize their channel if they have the right tools. And so far, you guys have covered getting into the body and the mind. So now getting into the energetics and the spiritual side is kind of where I come in. That's kind of my specialty. I tie everything together.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey. You're saying you grew up with these, tendencies, maybe the awareness, or did you have the awareness of it when you were a kid? I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey uncovering your channel.
Yeah. So when I was little, I used to see things and hear things that I couldn't really explain. And as a little kid, you don't kind of notice how much of an impact it has on the people around you until people start treating you differently or freaking out. And my parents were supportive. I mean, I didn't grow up in a traditional religious household or anything. So they weren't scared, but they were like, hey, maybe don't tell the kids on the playground about their dead grandma. Like, maybe let's just dial it back. So there was a piece of me that started to feel shame around sharing these messages or talking to people or channeling. And it was something that I tried to repress through various different ways. You know, growing up as a teenager, I was like, let's go into drugs and alcohol, because if I'm so numb that I can't see or hear anything, how am I going to see or hear spirit? It's going to completely solve the problem. Newsflash, it didn't. So I ended up so I ended up later in life kind of coming to the realization that maybe I'm just crazy. Like, this is completely psychotic. So I ended up studying psychology and neuroscience, trying to understand how mentally ill I was. And when I didn't end up ticking any boxes or following any criteria for any certain mental health conditions, and no one was willing to prescribe me any drugs to stop it, I was like, well, what am I left with? I have to learn to embrace this and learn to navigate this. And that's what I've done.
Wow. Yeah, that's incredible. I just hear you with it. It's tough to feel different. There's a lot of people listening that in some way or another, you felt different. Maybe you were picked on or you stuck out in some way, or, you felt like you experienced life differently, seeing things, hearing things that aren't there and that or aren't there, quote unquote, to other people. But that's really tough because from the beginning, as you said, you kind of deduce, you kind of figure out there's something weird and different with me. And yeah, that's a hard journey just in general. And I'm just really proud of you and thankful that you made your way through all that healing to come to this place and to realize that you do, have this channel that was asking you to maybe be used or something. So when did you start using it more constructively, or maybe surrendering to the fact that this was something that wasn't just going away and that you were going to pay more attention to?
So, probably in my early 20s, we had this sort of catalyst event of losing a friend at a sudden point in time. There was nothing wrong with them. They just passed. And as a friend group, you're kind of left picking up the pieces and trying to understand how this happened, and I guess the fragility of life. And I really looked at things and thought, what am I doing? Like, I've never felt like I've actually been myself. I've never felt like I've been accepted, supported in my full authenticity. And so I started really trying to unpack all of the layers of shame and repression and finding the deeper layers and really trying to understand who I was as a person and how my energy operated, how my mind operated, and how my channel used my physical body to communicate in some ways. And so it was really kind of, stepping into my early 20s. So about 10, 15 years ago, about really kind of accepting this and learning to embrace it. And as I did, people started noticing a change in me. And everyone kept asking me, like, what are you doing? Like, what? Like, you're glowing, your whole life is turned around. Like, what is happening? Whatever you're on, I want it. Like, and it was really just explaining, like, hey, I'm actually embracing all of me. And this has had such a transformational and healing effect. And everyone was like, oh my God, help me. Like, please. And so I started kind of tuning in and channeling for friends and helping them understand their own abilities that they were either kind of aware of or completely not aware of at all. And I started doing it so much that it started taking up so much of my time that I was like, wow, I actually need to kind of do something about this and make this part of my business. And I started out with past life regression, and I started out with, holistic therapy, and started channeling for, people, connecting them to their spirit teams and their spirit guides and ancestors and things like that. And then it just kind of grew and progressed from there to teaching them how I was doing this and how they could do it for themselves.
That's so powerful. Yeah, It's like at some point it awakens in us. And I love how you just started helping others naturally by tuning into this, and it becomes something that helps yourself, but then also, you chose to have it also help others, which is just so beautiful. So I'd love to dive into, for anyone listening that's a little bit unclear on either, like, what is a channel? What do you mean we all have not even a channel as a profession, but our channel? What is our channel? And how do we start to tune into that? How does that work from your perspective with the spirit world, with our spirit team? I'd just love to hear you talk about that.
Absolutely. I will try to summarize this in the best way possible. But channeling is basically connecting to other dimensions. It's connecting to energies outside of ourselves. And there are many different ways to channel. The primarily most common ones are written channeling, spoken channeling, embodied channeling, and trance channeling. Now, I am a trance channel, which means I go into a meditative state and I allow another energy or another spirit to speak through me. And I do this primarily with my spirit team leader, I suppose you would call her, which is Sari. And she has a very embarrassing Scottish, Irish sort of accent when she comes through. So you can definitely tell the difference between us. But in learning to trance channel, it kind of brings together the spoken, the written, and the embodied channeling. So written channeling, I'm sure a lot of people are somewhat familiar. It is basically automatic writing, right? You are asking spirits questions and writing down the answers. And it's really, people tend to overcomplicate it, but it's a really simple experience. It's really just about getting out of your head and letting your body actually give you what you need. And spoken channeling is much the same. It is connecting and allowing the words to just flow from you without overthinking it, without doubting it, without trying to stop it mid-sentence because you're worried about someone's reaction or interpretation. Embodied channeling is more through movement. So, you hear a lot of people that practice yoga or some kind of physical movement, dance, things like that. And they tend to get downloads of information through those processes. They're more what you would call embodied channels. So there's lots of different ways that we receive messages from spirit and your spirit team. And the way that we often find the connection to these other dimensions and these other spirits and entities is through our physical body. So yes, we are a spirit and we are energy in a physical form, but that doesn't take us away from our human experience. Our human experience is a very spiritual experience. And so when we connect to the human body and we connect to our senses, our sight, our sound, our smell, our taste, our touch, these are the gateways to communicating with spirit. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I know, everybody listening, when you're talking about those types of channeling, you may not even realize, like you said, you're dancing, or every time you're out on a walk, you get these downloads, and just not even realizing maybe that is channeling, that's spirit in some form or another, whether it's your team or your nana or whatever else, communicating with you. And so I love the way that you break that down. And I almost want to start at the beginning and then take it a little bit more advanced. So if somebody's fairly new to this, but they know they have an intuition and they're wanting to discover more about this, and maybe even talking to their spirit team, or if there is, someone they want to connect with, where do we start with that type of thing? If you're fairly new to this, but you do notice, hey, I do get downloads and I want to take this a little bit further.
So it sounds really boring, but I always find the best place to start is actually learning to enhance your 3D senses. So your 3D senses are actually connected to your psychic senses. So when you are really good at picking up on subtle vibrations. Like if you're listening to the silence and you can hear the wind and you can hear the vibration of the lights in the room, and you can really feel what is happening in that space, that sense of hearing will then progress and grow through your 3D reality here, through this dimension, into other dimensions, right? This is where we start to pick up and we start to hear music or someone speaking or a word or something that comes through to you, right? So when we kind of learn to enhance and build upon our 3D senses, a lot of people don't realize this automatically grows your psychic senses. So sensory deprivation is a great tool to learn to improve and enhance certain senses. Now, you don't want to overwhelm yourself and start going, okay, this week I'm going to work on sight and sound and, touch and everything all at once. We all have a dominant sense. We all have one sense that we feel is stronger than the rest. Find what that sense is for you and circle in on that sense. And if it's sight, wear a blindfold and actually start trying to see through the blindfold or see through your closed eyes. You don't need to have extra tools, but it's learning to kind of see and understand what's around you without actually seeing it. So if it's sound, of course, like sit in the silence. What can I hear? Really tune into it. If it is smell, ask spirit for you, kind of like a palate cleanser, right? It's like, hey, give me a sign that you're here. And if you're wanting to talk to your Nana, for example, and you know that she had a particular perfume that she wore, like let me smell this perfume as a sign that you're here. And this is going to start opening up the communication pathways, because a lot of the time people are expecting spirit's messages to be cinematic, dramatic, like a big smack in the face. And 99% of the time, spirit's messages start out really subtle. So once we kind of tune into those subtleties, things begin to grow and they become more advanced. And that's when we can get to a point of having a one-on-one conversation with spirit, just like you and I are having now. So it's really kind of just starting at the foundations, like no pun intended. The course that I have is called Channeling Foundations, for those that aren't aware. But it is kind of coming into the foundations of being human. And I often like to talk about, and it sounds kind of nerdy, so bear with me, but those of you that are into comic books or superheroes, right? There is a superhero, Daredevil, who is blind, but he's a superhero and can fight and do all these things. And it's not because he was magically gifted with, extra sight after losing his vision. It's because he trained his other senses so much that he is able to hear everything around him, and that allows him to see what is around him. So it's the same kind of thing. It's if we learn to train these senses, then they become stronger, not just in this realm, but in others as well.
I love that so much. And I love how you're pointing to, if there are people that are beginners, we often think it's something outside of ourselves. Like I have to go and get this gift. Like you said, people think it's some special thing that they have to, get, but you're pointing to with the senses and it's already within you. It's already inside of you. Spirit is you. These, this interaction's already there. So if there are people listening that this is more of a beginner situation, just realizing you already have this. As you said, there's senses you're already more gifted at or drawn toward or skilled at, and it becomes through practicing it. And as you were talking, I was thinking, it's just like if you were to get really fit, you already have the muscles. It's just training the muscles that makes them change, right? And so I love that
Absolutely.
you know, allow us to all go, okay, maybe I do already have this. And just as a starting point, that's so powerful. And if there are people listening, which I know there are, who are already in that, maybe it's this connection with their intuition and they have this strong, whether it's clairsentient and they feel things deeply, or, you know, they have honed this a little bit more, but wanting to get more specific. I know there's so many people in the community that are maybe wanting to reach out to a spirit guide more specifically, or a loved one, and wanting even to more specific guidance too, like ongoing, more consistent, really tightening up that connection they have with their intuition. What can we start to do from there to develop this a little bit deeper?
So this is more what I talk about in terms of like calibrating our signal, right? So learning to, how do I explain this? There's so much energy that comes in and comes out of our system. When you learn how to work and navigate your own specific signal and how to project that out, that's kind of where these things evolve. And there's lots of different archetypes for the way that our energy tends to operate, right? There are certain things that will be easier for some archetypes than others, but it really comes down to trust as well. It's one thing to hone in and calibrate your signal to pick up someone else's specific signal, for example, a certain spirit team member or, you know, a loved one that's passed. It's another to trust what you're receiving. And this is where psychology actually kind of comes into this. We have to understand that there are certain parts of your brain that are activated and deactivated when you are in a channeling state. So there are parts of you that are more in tuned to the flow, and there are parts of you that are going to try and fight against it in form of protection. So, I mean, even just coming into the different archetypes, right? So there's generally 4 that I tend to refer to, and it's the amplifier, the transmitter, oh my gosh, I'm going to go blank for a second, the stabilizer, and the alchemist, right? And this is how our body responds to spirit connecting with us. And everyone is different. And you might find that you kind of fall into maybe 2 or 3 of the archetypes, but there is one that will be more specific and more attuned to your energy as your default. And this isn't about personality. It's not about labels. It's about really understanding how your nervous system, your emotional body, and your mind organize themselves when spirit is present. And when you do understand this, you stop fighting your design. You stop trying to mimic other people's channels and how they operate. And you stop thinking that you're doing it wrong. So this is something that it does tend to put things into a deeper perspective for you when you can understand what your archetype is and how to work with it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love that. And it reminds me of like, people are naturally gifted at certain things. My husband's a naturally gifted musician. Some people are naturally gifted with numbers or a certain trade or whatever it is that within your own channel, if I'm understanding what you're saying, we have different tendencies, or different ways that our gifts maybe slant, more ways that are more natural for us, like to channel. Am I butchering that?
No, you're on the right track. So like, let me see if I can explain one in particular. Like, let's go with the amplifier. Okay. So as an amplifier, if you are an amplifier, you'll tend to feel spirit first. So your experience tends to be more of the energy in your body. You'll feel more emotional. You'll get the rush of sensations and the pressure in your chest and the tingling in your throat. You'll feel it more through your body, right? It's through that embodied transmission that spirit moves. So you're not just receiving messages per se, but you're experiencing them in real time in your physical being. So this leans more towards your embodied channels, people that get downloads that are going for a walk or doing yoga or, dancing, these kinds of movements. So as an embodied conduit, when you speak, people don't just hear it, they feel it. So your energy carries in a way that's just impossible to ignore. And that is a really beautiful gift. And people don't always realize this is how they are perceived and this is how they tend to operate. But when they zone in on, understanding that that's how they operate, your energy then amplifies the messages that you receive. So the messages you receive, it makes them feel more real and alive, and they are so deeply emotional. But there's also a shadow side to this, right? So without proper regulation, your emotions can get entangled with the message. So intensity can often be mistaken for truth. And you might absorb energy that actually isn't yours or isn't who you're trying to connect with. And that can lead to confusion and burnout. So the biggest risk that these amplifiers face when channeling is channeling when they are emotionally dysregulated and seeking comfort through that connection rather than their own clarity. So, ways for amplifiers to really kind of understand or navigate their way through their channeling process. First things first is to regulate, like fucking regulate, guys. This is so important. Always check in with your emotional state and make sure that you're balanced before you're attempting to connect with anyone. Also, short sessions are more beneficial for you. Keep it clean, keep it short, 5-10 minutes. Once you've received the message, close that session, clear the energy, let it unfold, and set boundaries. You have very amplified, powerful energy. Don't use it for reassurance. That connection should serve clarity and not emotional comfort. So trust that the truth is always clear, even when it is subtle. Does this make sense?
I just am soaking all this up. I love that because it's easy to get enmeshed with our intuition, or whether you're saying you're more of a feeler, you're receiving a clear message for somebody or for yourself, and then your own like, yeah, but, or this or that, and I'll notice that, say I'm in coaching and I'm receiving a message about business, but I'm experiencing something in business, I'll have to stop a second, because the best way I can describe is almost like a Venn diagram when two energy bubbles. So the guidance is coming in, but then my own preconceived ideas or my reaction starts to come in, and I have to stop and like clear the energy back, get back into my own channel rather than my own mind or whatever else is happening, to kind of separate. I don't know if that makes sense, but I definitely have experienced things like that where it is. That's one of the biggest things, is clearing your energy first so that you're not giving convoluted messages, especially when it's to clients, and not convoluted, but enmeshed with your own thing, especially when it's to other people. That is so important. And I'd love to hear you talk even a little bit more about that, the body, and how our body is such an important piece of this channel, even to do with, as you're saying, like your emotional state, your rest, your this, your that. And I'd love to just hear you talk about that.
Yeah. Your body comes into so much of channeling just as it is, right? Your senses are generally the gateway to your messaging. Obviously, your senses are connected to your body. And if you are not grounded in your body, you're not going to know what your senses are telling you. You're not going to pick up on the subtleties. You're not going to hear the noise in the silence. So it really comes down to the importance of grounding. And I know this seems like basic bitch shit, like, but it is an integral part of the foundations. And this is the thing, is like, so often those of us that have been in the industry for a long time, or have been, working through the spiritual space, we tend to get to a point where we kind of think we're beyond, the basic grounding bullshit. And we're like, oh, I'm grounded. I'm so good. I walked outside this morning and I'm, it's fine. Like, we kind of think we're above it. And this is my loving reality check to you, that grounding never stops being important. Grounding never stops being one of the most important foundations to any sort of channeling or intuitive services or acts. Yeah, like, you need to be grounded to be able to listen to what your body is telling you. And something I always tell my clients is that your mind will lie to you. Your mind will try to protect you from certain things. It's always within, it's with good intentions, but it will lie to you. But your body will never lie to you. Your body will never try to tell you something is different. It will never try to convince you of anything for your own protection. It will never try to manipulate you the way that your mind does. So the more connected you become with your body, the more connected you will become with spirit.
Oh my goodness, that's just said so beautifully, because again, I think there's this perception that they're separate. And so many of us have struggled in our body in some way, whether it's just being rushed, overstimulated, overwhelmed, or, I came from an eating disorder, or we've had, up and down relationships with our bodies, and really realizing that the spirit is not separate from the body, the channel, the spirit team, whatever it is that you're, dabbling in, it's within the body again and not external. I love the way that you speak about that. And I'd love to hear, as we start to kind of wrap this up, I'd love to hear your perspective, your spiritual perspective on almost like, why use the channel? Who's trying to communicate with us? What is the power that lies through this? I'd just love to kind of hear about that, as opposed to it being something mysterious. It's almost like, I want to hear your perspective on, like, what is this channel? Who can we connect to over here? What's the benefit of doing this work?
So this is going to be a really long answer, and I apologize in advance.
I love it. I want it.
But basically, to give some context, I have been working with spirit for, roughly 20 years. And through that experience, I've spoken with a lot of different souls and a lot of different spirits. And something that always remains the same is their explanation of coming into this life. And the way that they explain it is that we kind of come into this life with sort of like a cosmic shopping list of experiences and lessons to have as a human. Now, it might take us one lifetime, and it might take us 100 lifetimes to complete everything on this list. But once we do, we are given a choice. We can either start a new list of new lessons and new experiences and grow and evolve, or we can assist someone that we have loved complete their list. Now, this is what my spirit team refer to as their promotion. They like to use the analogy of a career, of a job. And basically, everyone who is on a spirit team has decided to help someone that they love. And so they've picked one person through many, many, many lifetimes and gone, this is the person that I feel I can benefit the most. I'm going to submit an application to their soul, and hopefully they will accept, and I can be that spiritual support network for them. And this is how they become our spirit guides. This is how they become our spirit team members. And this is the thing, is that there is so much love that is tied to this relationship that the only human word that doesn't actually even come close, but it's the best we have to describe, is unconditional love. It is absolutely unconditional love. And so for them, they will be here to support you in any possible way that they can to help you achieve everything on this list, so that you're given the option to either start a new list or help someone you love or move on to the next realm and the next existence, right? So there are many different things, many different benefits that your spirit team has and communicating with them has. I know for myself, it has changed my entire life. It has changed my relationships. It has changed my business. It has changed my health. It has changed so much in my life that it just doesn't come down to an easy explanation or an easy sell point. I'm like, there is just so much that I would not be where I am without them. And it's not relying on them, but it's allowing them to support you and not feeling like you have to do things on your own, or you're struggling to do things on your own, or you're unsure of your next step, or you don't know how to fix this situation, or, hey, you're just driving through the shopping mall looking for a car park, like, and you're getting frustrated. Like, there are so many things from the macro to micro that they benefit. And I know for me, like, they've literally saved my life. And I know that I would not be here without them. And it's the most beautiful connection that I have never, ever doubted. Like, I know sometimes we move through life and there's relationships where, you know, you feel like you have a best friend or a sister or a lover or someone who you can count on no matter what. And then something happens and you're questioning that relationship, or you're questioning the intentions. This is a relationship I have never questioned, ever. And having that is such a comforting feeling. It is such a supportive feeling. And it's really just knowing that you're not alone. And I feel like as a human, being here is hard. You know, like, there's so much going on in the world and it's not an easy experience. So why not have all of the support that you can get? Why not get the cheat codes to the game, you know? Why not take advantage of everything that is available to you? So, yeah, I guess that's my answer.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It is so hard to sum that type of thing up. You know, what's available to you? Almost everything you could ever imagine, and way more than you can ever imagine. But I hear you, you know, these teams, these guides, these experiences. And I've been shown before too from spirit that some of our spirit team are past people we've had in past lives, different connections. You know, someone once was talking about how we have grandparents and they pass on and then they're living along with us. And in some ways, our spirit team can be almost infinite of these other families we've had in other lifetimes, I don't know if it's every single one or what, as you're saying, there's different ways that they become our spirit teams, but just to think of support beyond what we can imagine and beyond what, you know, we even know, but these energy beings, entities, whatever you want to say, that are here to support us. And like you said, why would you not? Especially that higher perspective, that seeing things from a little bit elevated. Why would we not? It's so powerful. Yeah. Oh, this conversation has been so great and I'm so grateful for it. I know there's so much more more we can dive into. But as we start to wrap up, I'd just love to hear, why do you feel that, establishing your channel, working with your channel, honing it, why do you feel that it is just so important when it comes to this journey of true transformation and the journey that we are on in this growth and healing?
I honestly feel like it comes back to that human experience. Like, if we are here to live a human life, we're here to live all of it. And if we're not embracing every piece of ourselves, the mind, the body, and the spirit, and activating our channel, what are we doing? We're going to finish this life. We're going to get to the other side, and they're going to be like, how was it? And you're like, yeah, it was okay. I didn't get to experience the full concept, the full emotion, the full experience of being human. And I just feel like that's such a letdown. So I think if we're really going to come here and we're going to live this life, we might as well make the fucking most of it. And if that's activating every piece of you so that you get to have the most amazing, incredible mind, body, and soul experience as a human, that you can go back into, wherever we come from, into the next phase, and go, you know what? I had a great fucking time. Like, that is what I aim for. And I feel like that is what being human is about. And I feel like that is part of the fun. So I feel like that has the biggest transformation for me, or has been the biggest transformation for me. And yeah, I hope that other people experience it as well.
Yeah, it's so powerful. It goes from pushing everything forward to co-creating. It goes from, what the heck, relationships are complicated. Am I alone? Who can you trust? Into, like you said, something steady, something unconditionally loving. And I just love that. I just love you saying, like, why would we not? And especially those listening here, we're old souls. We've been around the block. We are ready for that absolute next level of expansion. And there's so much possible, as you're saying, when we access this channel and work with spirit and our spirit team. Oh my goodness, this has been so powerful. And you have a free gift for us, or you have an opportunity if anybody wants to dive deeper into your world. Can you share with us a little bit about it?
Absolutely. So being a soul therapist and spirit communication mentor, and spending the last 2 decades learning to navigate this and master it, I now teach others how to do the same. So yes, I am a trance channel, and that is my primary way of channeling, but I teach all types of channeling, and I help you move into what is your most comfortable way of learning this skill. Because again, this is a skill. It is not a gift. I am not magic. I mean, I am, but like not more than anyone else, So I do have a course called Channeling Foundations. It is an online self-paced course that continues to help you learn to communicate with spirit and how to structure a precise and clear channel and be able to communicate with spirit. So we do have a discount code where if you use transformation at checkout, the code transformation, you will get $100 off the course. And once you complete the Channeling Foundations course, you're then eligible to apply for the Channel to Connect mentorship, which is a one-on-one mentorship with me, where I can help you refine your channel and how to help you optimize your flow and use it in your everyday life.
Oh my goodness, that course sounds so powerful. I know your one-on-one work as well would be so powerful. So thank you so much. I will leave that below, the link and the code again, if you want to dive into Elle's world and learn more about these channeling foundations and what type you are. It's just so beneficial. And as you said, once you learn this, you now can build on it and you have it forever. It's something that will go on to, support you. So thank you so much. And for anyone that is really vibing with this, where do you hang out online? Where can we come find you if people want to follow along and learn more?
Yeah, absolutely. I spend most of my internet presence on Instagram. So I'm Elle.Embers, and you can find all the information on how to work with me and my courses and everything else on my website, which is elleembers.com.
Perfect. Thank you again, Elle. Everything is below, you guys. And this has just been such an inspiring and activating conversation. It's so good. So thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I've loved it.
Thank you for tuning in to the True Transformation Summit. Make sure to take what this guest said, implement it into your life, check the show notes for their gift and to follow along on the journey, and make sure to tune in to the next guest episode. Namaste.